If my $9,000 big brake kit stops initially the exact same as an OEM setup, are they even worth it? Let's face it, big brake kits look incredible, but are they worth the money, or is the money better spent on other mods? In today's video, we're going to talk about some popular misconceptions about big brake kits and help you decide if it's something that's right for you. Hey, my name is Brian, that's Zach behind the camera. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us that thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. Ah yes, the big brake kit, a game-changing mod that people often buy without knowing its actual purpose. Now what I mean by that is a lot of people will buy a big brake kit thinking that they are going to decrease their stopping distance when, well, in all reality, that's the job of your tires. You see, your tires are the only contact point that your car actually has with the road. So if you're looking to decrease those stopping distances, you may want to look into more of a performance-oriented tire. For example, you can see on this tire here, it's quite sticky. It's actually cleaning our floor the more we roll it. But that is definitely a way to decrease your stopping distance. But today's video isn't about tires, it's about brakes. So what we did is we took two F80s. We have John's F80 M3, it has the stock brake package, and my Ferrari red F80 M3, which you know has the AP Racing big brake kit. Now, both of these cars have 20-inch variant wheels and the same exact Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. So let's line them up and see how they do. As you can see, on an initial stop, they actually stop pretty much the same. So again, what justifies the high cost of a big brake kit? Well, let's take a deeper dive. Now, when it comes to OEM brakes, they're typically designed to be used in a single stop situation. What is that, you may ask? Oh dear, I will show you. Dear! That is a single stop situation. So as you just saw, Zach's OEM brakes handled that single stop like a champ. But if you took that same car and you dropped it on a racetrack and he's on the gas and he's on the brakes and he's on the gas and he's on the brakes, what's going to happen is the car doesn't know what to do with all of that heat buildup in the brakes, and you're going to soon experience brake fade. Let's demonstrate what it's like to have brake fade. So this is your rotor, this is heat from the racetrack, and this is your brake pad. So what's happening is you have your brake pad and your first stop, not too bad. And then what starts to happen is heat is introduced from excessive heating and not getting enough cooling. And then what starts to happen is your stopping distances start to get longer and longer. And then you go through turn 10 and turn 11. And see, what's happening is in your OEM brake setup, there's nowhere for the heat to go. It doesn't appropriately dissipate. Your brake fluid is boiling. You go to step on your brakes and your pads just feel like melted butter on your brakes. Make a good grilled cheese, but not good for braking. So that's essentially how an OEM brake setup is going to work on the track. That's why you always want to at least use track pads. But the reason that people go to a big brake kit is consistency. The way that it's able to do that is these are engineered around cooling. You'll notice that it has special cooling vents in the vanes. The systems are typically larger. This actually has an additional 2 pistons per side in the front and an additional 2 pistons in the rear. If you take a look at my OEM brake pad versus the one from our AP Racing kit, you can see it just has a ton more surface area. If you look at this bevel from here to here, you literally get about twice the surface area without actually physically measuring it. And that's just on the front alone, not including the back. The back, you're actually going to use a pad that's about the size of your old fronts in the rear. So all of that heat is going to much easier dissipate, keeping everything cooler. So to help illustrate what this looks like, let's go back to when we had the red car and the black car next to each other. Again, same wheels, same tires, different brakes. So as you can see on the first stop, that single stop, they're gonna stop pretty much the same, but as the brakes on the black car heat up, that OEM setup, you're going to notice that the stopping distances get longer and longer and longer, while the red car maintains that consistency because it has much cooler brakes. Now, in addition to consistency, you're also going to get a much firmer pedal feel. It's going to feel about 30% stiffer. You're going to get more even pad wear, so they're going to last longer caliper service life, and depending on which kit you get, you may also save a little weight. Let's answer a popular question that I know is coming in the comments. Bryan, why didn't you just get the OEM carbon ceramic brakes? You can get these from BMW for an MSRP of about $14,000 to $15,000, where a kit like this for front and rear is going to run you about $9,000. Now, while the BMW Carbon Ceramic brake package is probably lighter and it looks ridiculous, it looks completely amazing, there's a huge downside, and that is cost. If you have this brake setup, each of these rotors is going to cost you between $3,000 and $4,000. So they're supposed to last a very long time, but what happens is if you track the car a lot, they will not last as long as they're supposed to. And if you find yourself in a position where you have to replace the rotors, these alone, $3,000 to $4,000, not including pads, brake fluids, or other service items. So really, for cost, these are out for us. All right, so now we know that the carbon ceramic option from BMW is really, it just prices itself out. It's extremely expensive. Now, with the AP Racing design rotors, one of the things that I love about this kit is it comes with a two-piece rotor. Now, the reason that it does this is twofold. So first off, if you need to replace your rotor, all you need to do is replace this outer ring instead of having to replace the entire component, and that is going to cost you hundreds of dollars versus thousands of dollars. Now, you'll notice here under this hardware, there's a little bit of a hole. The reason for that is because if you have a solid steel rotor, which most cars have, what happens is once they start to heat up, they start to distort, and they call it coning, because you have your rotor and they start to expand outwards and whatnot. The heat's looking for somewhere to go. Now, with a one piece, it's got nowhere to go. Where when you have a two-piece design like the one we have here, it gives it a little bit of space to actually move around, so you're going to prevent that coning. Now, if this is your brake pad and this is your rotor, coning is basically it's starting to get distorted, and then you don't have really good contact. With this, I'm not going to say you're not going to have any coning at all or any distortion. You're still going to have it because the heat is still there, and you can't 100% get rid of all of that distortion, but if it distorts just a little bit, you're going to help keep temperatures down, and it's also going to reduce the service life of your calipers. Now, speaking of the calipers, there's two main kits. There's the competition line, and then there's also the road version, which is what I have. These are great if you're driving as a daily driver, and then you're going to the track days on the weekends, whatnot, and you still want it to have, you know, a little bit of the frills. These come in really nice colors. It comes in the silver, which I thought went perfect with the red. It comes in a red. I was a little bit nervous that it was going to clash with the existing red, and then they also come in a gloss black. All of the finishes look amazing. They come with the 380 mil rotors in the front and also the back. And as you saw earlier, the pads are huge, so you're going to get awesome life out of them. Now, I went with the DS2500 pads because those are good for street and also track. We also have other just strict race pads available, but for reduced noise and other reasons, we thought that this was the best setup for what we were trying to achieve. Now, on the flip side from the road version, the competition is a little bit different setup. They come with a 372 millimeter front and a 365 rear. The caliper itself is larger, and it's amazing. You can get these super large pads in there. So if you're on the track, if you're doing a 24-hour race, you're gonna be able to change your pads far less than if you have this kit. Now, this kit, you're still going to be able to go track the heck out of it, and you're probably not going to change the pads, but that is going to really take you to next level if you're doing endurance racing. The other thing is it's not flashy like this. I wanted something, you know, we're gonna spend the money, right? So you might as well get something a little bit flashy too, so it looks good at car shows. But a lot of the guys that just track the heck out of the car, what'll happen is their calipers will actually change color. So on the F80, they start blue, and here's a shot of Blake's Garage's brakes, and as you can see, they're like a greenish, almost black, because of how much he tracks the car. And that's just very common for guys that track the car. Just the powder coats just typically don't hold up. Now, AP Racing uses a really good paint to help minimize that, but if you are going to be using it and abusing it on the track, you might want to go to the competition style. Last two things I want to tell you specifically about these AP Racing kits. They do have the JHook design. What that does is it helps to evenly disperse the heat so that you have the appropriate cooling. And then earlier we talked about having a 30% stiffer pedal feel. A lot of the reason for that is it does come with these stainless lines. With these stock rubber lines, literally when you're pressing on the pedal, they are typically ballooning a little bit. A lot of times it's not gonna feel like you just blew up a balloon. But they do have some flex to it where the stainless steel is going to keep it controlled. It's going to get that fluid right into the caliper. And because of the size and how these big brake kits are engineered, it's also going to cool them down a lot more, which is going to mean that you're going to have lower temperatures in your brake fluid, again, for better pedal feel and more consistency. So, are big brake kits for shorter stopping distances? Well, kind of if you're factoring multiple stops, but really it's about keeping your temperatures down and keeping you consistent on the track, which we showed you earlier with this car and the other F80 M3. They have same tires, same wheels, but you'll notice that this car has much more consistent stops, and that's really what you want on the racetrack. So anyway, once again, my name is Bryan, that's Zach behind the camera. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. And once again, if you're interested in the brake kit we installed, the tools, the bedding procedure, and more, be sure to see the links in the description. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.